So lately, I've had a lot of people asking questions about their circumstances and things that are going on with them specifically. And I've come up to a point where sometimes I don't recommend a person start with a parasite cleanse. And so I just wanted to discuss this a little bit and just kind of answer questions and have a little bit of a discussion around this topic because there are times when a parasite cleanse can be dangerous, and this is not to scare anybody or, cause any kind of weird panic or steer someone towards medications or anything like that. I just think that in some cases, it is wise to proceed with caution and to move slowly and to kind of what we need to address is sometimes we need to strengthen the body and basically strengthen our immune systems and balance our bodies before we start to kill parasites, because I do, and I've said, and I do believe that parasites cause pretty much everything that happens to us. However, there are some cases where I think that we shouldn't start with a parasite cleanse, if that makes sense, because a parasite cleanse can be harsh. It can be, and parasites like to fight back when we target them. So just to let you know, I will be looking at the comments and questions. So if I miss something, just ask me again, because they pop up and then they disappear. So just to let you know, I'm not ignoring you. If you ask a question and I don't answer it, I may not have seen it. So I'll just talk a little bit and then we can do questions and discuss it a little bit. But one case where I would say let's not start with the parasite cleanse is if you're pregnant. Okay, so that's pretty standard that you don't want to do some kind of major detox or cleanse while you're pregnant, because things can be kind of precarious and you don't want to start waging a war inside your body while you've got a life depending on you, that you just don't want to put anything in danger or whack anything out of balance or anything like that. That's not to say that you can't start healing while you're pregnant. So the first case would be pregnancy, right? Where I wouldn't recommend a full-on hardcore parasite cleanse. And I probably wouldn't recommend targeting parasites at all directly if pregnant. Though I do talk to people all the time who want to start healing, but they're pregnant. So they're like, well, do I need to wait? I'm feeling really terrible. I feel like I could do some healing, but I don't want to put my baby in danger, this kind of thing. So in that case, I would definitely look at step 3 in my 3-step parasite cleansing protocol, because that's the maintenance part of it. And it's like the root cause healing part of it. And it's very gentle and it's safe for pregnancy. At least all of the ingredients are safe. There's no contraindications for pregnancy, and the company that formulates it has said there are no contraindications, and definitely disclaimer to check with your doctor and all of that. But it's foods, it's herbs, it's probiotics. It's nothing that's going to disrupt balance, and it's not going to attack anything. So that's probably the first thing I would look at if I was pregnant and wanted to start healing. Step 3. Step 1 is also a possibility if you're pregnant. It is up to you if you want to do something like step 1 when you're pregnant. I have friends who have done step 1 while they're pregnant. Why must rebuke people who say literally all the time? I don't know what that means, but anyway. So usually when I say literally, I mean literally. So it does have meaning. The word has meaning. So if I say it, it's usually because I'm saying take it literally. Anyway, so pregnancy is just, it's, for different people, it can be a touchy situation, and you just want to be very mindful and careful of what's going on in your body at the time. So for people who do want to start healing, I do recommend step 3 and potentially step 1. Okay, so step 1 is something that helps to it's almost like a cleanse, but I don't want to call it a cleanse because it's super gentle. And I know lots of pregnant women who have used it with success and no problems or whatever. So so potentially step 1 could be something to look at. I would probably not recommend step 2 for anyone who is pregnant, just to keep cleanses and detoxes off the table completely, just during pregnancy, just to keep everyone as safe as possible. The second condition that I would say is probably a time that you don't want to start with a parasite cleanse is when you have a demonstrably severe infestation and you know it. So there are some people who have such a strong infestation of parasites and they are so sick that basically the parasites have literally taken over their entire body and mind. When I say literally, I mean literally. So whatever. If you don't like that word, that's fine, but I mean literally. And so in these cases where the infestation is so severe that like maybe you can feel them crawling around, maybe you have some kind of very severe diagnosis, the C word, or something very severe and life-threatening that's already threatening your life. At this point, I'm not saying you shouldn't do a parasite cleanse, but I think that you should tread softly and tread slowly and start carefully. So in these 2 cases, pregnancy/breastfeeding, and where you have a very severe illness that you think is a very severe infestation of parasites, I would say, let's chat and let me give you the gentlest thing I know to start with, basically, because you have to start somewhere. You do want to heal, right? And you do need to get rid of the parasites, but attacking them head on when you're already weak and sick is not the best idea, okay? Because in those cases where there's basically more parasites than there are anything else in your body, and they're just literally running the show inside of your body, you want to tread with caution. You just want to be very careful what you do next, because when you attack them, they do fight back. They do spew toxins into your bloodstream, and in those cases, it can be dangerous. It can make you very sick and cause further problems. So in those somewhat rare cases, I would just probably chat with you and try to figure out like what's the best way to start, right? Because once you've been able to start healing and start bringing balance back into your body and your microbiome, just joined in. I think I was purposely drawn here. Oh, okay. Yes, I know. And a lot of people feel parasites in their bodies, and then there's, doctors may call people crazy when they say that, or, I don't think it's crazy. I think we can feel them a lot of times, and we just call ourselves like, oh, that couldn't be right. Like, that's just in my head. Like, that's not right, but I believe it. Like, when people tell me that, it's true. I believe it. They're in there. And I believe we can feel them a lot of times. So someone asked if there's a diet. I don't prescribe a specific diet. I do advocate eating as clean as possible, as close to the ground as possible, as well-sourced as possible, as little processed food, 0 junk, 0 preservatives, 0 processed food. That's the diets that those kinds of processed junk food diets are what feed parasites the most. So obviously we would want to get away from the things that feed parasites the most, if that makes sense. I don't have a diet plan, so I haven't gone that far yet. I might at some point start making some recommendations in that direction. But at this point, I try to give people a starting off point for healing. And once you can start healing, I see it like a snowball. Sometimes there's a snowball effect where something starts the snowball. Like maybe you take antibiotics, maybe you had a car accident, maybe you got sick, whatever it is, had a surgery, something starts it, and then it starts rolling in this direction that you feel like you just can't stop it, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So my My goal here is to start you rolling in that opposite direction. Okay, so it's not overnight, it's not immediate, it's not a magic pill. It's something that gets you in the direction of healing so that you can heal over time. I do see that someone asked if Paragard is good to start with. It depends. It depends on your situation. So a lot of times, especially in like Western or American sensibility, we think, okay, well, I have this problem, so I'm going to hit it as hard as I can and I'm going to knock it out. You know, like that's like our mindset. But I don't think that that's how we need to treat our bodies. I think that we need to be gentle with ourselves. And I think that healing is sometimes a delicate balance. And we have to keep that in mind when we're doing it. And if we're very, very sick, hitting it hard and fast is not probably the best option because those things are strong. They've been taking control over your body for a while probably, and you want to do it in the smartest way possible. You want to hit them basically like when they're not looking. You want to get them when they're most vulnerable, and you want to do the least amount of damage to your body in the process. Okay, so basically, I probably wouldn't say on the very first cleanse do Paragard unless you feel pretty strong already and you just want to do maintenance and that kind of thing. That's fine. I do have one that I do recommend as a first cleanse in general, just to get you started and kind of see how you feel. And it's called a frozen castor oil capsule cleanse. I feel that that's one of the most gentle cleanses that you can do. And it also helps to clear out your digestive system and just give you kind of a better start and a good idea of how you're going to feel on a cleanse. Okay. So, what supplements do you take with this? So if you look at my profile, I do have 3 steps to any parasite cleanse. And like I'm talking about here is basically I'm talking about when you might want to hold off on step 2, which is the actual parasite cleanse part of it. Step 1 is where you open detox pathways, you support your liver, you support your kidneys, seal up leaks in the gut, and basically it's like a pre-cleanse. So it sets the stage for the most successful, safest, most comfortable cleanse you could possibly have. Okay, so I do recommend everyone do that before you do any type of cleanse, especially if you haven't done it before, just to get the best results and to not have a terrible experience. You want to have the best experience possible. You want to be able to flush out toxins as quickly as possible. Right now I'm talking about opening the pathways. So someone's asking, I'm going to cleanse, but I've heard about making sure the pathways are open. So step 1 in my 3-step protocol is literally, it is to open the pathways. That is what it is. So it opens the detox pathways. It preps your gut to just be able to flush out toxins as quickly and efficiently as possible. It seals leaks in the gut, which is super important, supports the liver, supports the kidneys, so that you can just have the most successful cleanse possible. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Step 1, definitely look at step 1. Step 2 is the actual parasite cleanse. I usually do that over the full moon for some very good reasons. If you don't understand why I'm talking about the full moon, there is a Q&A playlist in my profile, and I've explained why I like to do cleanses over the full moon. It has nothing to do with superstition or witchiness or anything like that. It's very scientific. It has to do with hormones and how our bodies respond to the cycles of the moon and how the parasites' bodies respond to just the times and cycles of the earth and the moon and that kind of thing. It's just the way we're made. And that's why I do it, because I feel like it's the most effective time to do it. So usually I do step 2, the parasite cleanse, over the full moon for best effect. It's when the parasites are most vulnerable. It's when they are kind of all concentrated more in one spot than all over the body. So it's just basically more effective. Zeolite to open pathways. Zeolite is more of a binder, and it can also help with biofilm. I'm not a huge fan of zeolites. You can use them if you want to. I don't personally use them for a couple of different reasons. I may change my mind on that in the future. I just have a couple of reasons that I'm not the hugest fan of zeolites in general. But like I said, I know a lot of people like them, and that's fine. They're more of a binder though, and I think they can disrupt the biofilm a little bit, which is good. So I generally use diatomaceous earth, which is also an aluminous silicate. It's a similar compound, and I just like that a little bit better. It's also much cheaper, and I think it's safer, but that's currently my opinion on zeolites. I may change my mind in the future. But zeolites, I guess I wouldn't say they open detox pathways. I would say that maybe a little bit, maybe that can be like part of the function. To open detox pathways, there's certain herbs and things that kind of open the ducts and the liver and the kidneys. So that's a big part of the detox pathways. The gut not being obstructed or blocked in any way, and things are just able to flow smoothly. That's elimination. That's detox pathways, right? Higher levels of glutathione in the body, which is the master antioxidant, and sealing up leaks in the gut is important too, because leaks are like little holes in the gut. So as MTHFR, I will discuss that in just a minute. As holes are in the gut lining, that's called leaky gut, and most people do have some form of leaky gut. When you detox, some of those pathogens or toxins or other things can leak into the bloodstream, and that's another thing that can make us sick, and have a Herxheimer reaction or some kind of like die-off reaction when we're killing parasites. So let's see, MTHFR. So MTHFR is interesting. It is definitely a gene mutation that a lot of people have at this point. I have my theories on why. The main thing that you have to keep in mind with MTHFR is that you just have issues detoxifying your body. And so these things that I'm talking about just become even more important, basically. So I personally don't believe that I have MTHFR, and I've never tested for it, but I don't have any of the like common signs or symptoms of it. However, I do treat my body as if I do have it, because I think that that's the best way to live. So basically, I think that we should all be getting the most like natural food-based elements that we can, because those are most absorbable and our body recognizes those things. I do think that we should stay away from synthetic nutrients and synthetic pharmaceutical things that our bodies can't absorb well or detox well. We should all stay away from Tylenol. I just think that we should all live our lives as if we have MTHFR, right? Like that should be our mindset and our way to live in the first place. So everything I talk about is MTHFR friendly. I only recommend whole food, absorbable, highly absorbable supplements, and recommend food and that kind of thing that will be advantageous to anyone, including with gene mutations or MTHFR. That's awesome that you've been growing and foraging herbs. I would love to be doing more of that in the future. I've been trying to get to that point. How about Paratrex? I have not, I haven't looked specifically at Paratrex. Most of the herbal blends are very similar to each other. So a lot of them have wormwood and clove and green walnut, and they all have very similar anti-parasitic herbs. So they all work in a very similar way, and they're all, as far as I can see, pretty effective as far as killing parasites and targeting them. I do think that the herbal formulas can be a bit harsh, so I don't usually recommend them for the very first cleanse for that reason, just because I want to make sure that you don't have anything like excessive going on in your body before you start like targeting them in an aggressive way. And I do think those herbal formulas are pretty aggressive as far as that goes. So if you're comfortable and you feel like your body is strong and you just want to do this for maintenance and kind of like get whatever may be in there that you don't have like strong evidence for, totally go for it with the herbal tinctures and that kind of thing. But if you're in any way like compromised or vulnerable or very, very sick, I wouldn't necessarily start with that. You can maybe save it for your second or third cleanse that you do, just so you can get comfortable with it first. Can I drink my 1 glass of wine per day while Paragard cleanse? You can. Yeah. I don't think that's a big problem. I would try to stay away from excessive alcohol or sugar consumption while doing a parasite cleanse, but I don't think I really see anything wrong with a little bit. It's not, that's your habit. I think it's okay. I put dandelions in 80 proof yesterday. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. So you're doing a dandelion tincture. Okay, so I think maybe I've gotten all the questions. If I missed your question, you can just put it in there again, because TikTok, it's kind of hard to see them all sometimes, and then they just start scrolling and disappearing, so it's hard to see them all. But anyway, so I've already mentioned 2 things that I would probably not start a parasite cleanse right away in 2 cases. So that would be if you're pregnant, and if you possibly breastfeeding. It depends, like you could maybe do a gentle one, but not like a harsh one. So pregnant or breastfeeding is the first case that I wouldn't start with especially an aggressive parasite cleanse. Step 2, or the second kind of person, would be if you are very vulnerable or very sick already and kind of in a vulnerable state with your health. I would tread carefully and start with something more gentle. My step 1 and step 3 are safe for both of these cases. So I would definitely look at step 1 and step 3 and potentially skip step 2 until you're in a better spot with your overall health. And then I guess I do have a third case where basically if you're maybe in a mentally compromised situation or mentally vulnerable or something like that, because that can be a sign of pretty severe parasites as well, even if you don't have the other symptoms. And potentially, just mental health can be fragile, right? So if you feel like you or someone is very fragile as far as mental health goes, then I would probably start healing again with step 1 and step 3 and get your body and mind in better shape before you willpower yourself into health, right? And so, yeah, psyllium husk is good. A lot of times I did a video on turpentine, and I a lot of times will combine turpentine with some sugar and psyllium husk for a pretty effective. So if you want to see that video, it's in my profile playlists under step 2. I think it's the first video in there. Okay, I'm going to pause on tinctures once I do the castor oil because I'm feeling a bit weak. I think that's a good idea. I think that I really encourage you guys to listen to your bodies while you're going through this process. Listen to your body and go with what you feel like is the best way for you to go. I can't just say, okay, everybody do this one thing and do it exactly this way, right? Which is why it's hard and why sometimes I'm like, let's chat, because I want to ask you some questions and kind of see where I can determine that you're at and give you some suggestions. We all have to decide for ourselves what we're going to do, right? So I definitely think that listening to your body is wise, and I think that's great that you can kind of determine and discern what you want to do next based on how you're feeling. Do parasites shed to others in the home after a cleanse? They can. It's possible. I've seen, a lot of people say, let's all do this as a family together to kind of cleanse together, especially husband and wife, because they can be sexually transmitted. So, yeah, it's possible that they can spread to others in the household, especially. Yes, keep hydrated. Definitely, you got to flush all that stuff out. So that's true. So the other thing that I was going to talk about was basically willpower, because I've seen people talk about, today I was in a discussion in my group. So if you want to be in a parasite cleanse group, it's on Facebook. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. And we have a lot of good discussions over there. So feel free to come join. It's on Facebook. Actually, the link to the group is in my profile. So you can find the link there. You can click on it and request to join. Just put a little note so I know it's you, and so I know, that you're not trying to be a spammer or anything in the group. So there was a post where someone said, my son is struggling with some mental health issues, and a lot of people were giving suggestions and saying, okay, well, diet is foundational, and my son feels so much better when he's eating well and all of this, which is true. It's definitely true. It's demonstrably true that diet does help, obviously, right? Like that's the one thing we're putting into our bodies every day. So I will never deny that. That is like the foundation of everything. However, willpower will not heal you, okay? So even though changing your diet can go a long way to healing and helping you feel better and more mentally stable, parasites can control our cravings and what we want to eat, and those are powerful, okay? Like sugar is more addictive than crack, right? And parasites love sugar. Parasites love processed food. Parasites love junk food, chemicals, heavy metals. So they're going to drive us with almost uncontrollable cravings to go eat those things. And that's why I'm not going to tell you just eat better, just do it. Why can't you just buck up and eat better, right? Like just eat better things, because willpower is not how we heal, okay? Especially with parasites. They can drive us, and it's just this unrelenting craving, right? So we can't stop, okay? And I'm not going to fault you for that. I'm not going to say you're weak, because those things are strong. Those parasite cravings are strong. So the reason that I do the recommendations that I have, step 1, step 2, step 3, is because you have to start somewhere, okay? And starting with saying, okay, well, I'm just weak and I'm just lazy and I can't do this because my willpower isn't good enough. I'm not strong enough. That's not helpful, okay? That's not helpful, and that's not going to help you heal. What you have to do is you have to start somewhere. So once you decide to heal, this is why I have step 1, step 2, and step 3, because I want to make it as easy as possible to just start healing, right? And once you start healing, once you get on that path to healing, then those cravings start to diminish and you're able to make better choices. Okay, so it's not just willpower. You may want it more than anything else, but those cravings can control us. So that was just a little bit of insight that I was thinking about this morning, that it's not always just so easy to say, oh, just eat better. Oh, just make better choices. Just do it. It's not always that easy. And I want to give people an option to start healing without making them feel bad for the place that they're in, because you got there and you're there and that's it. You just have to start healing somewhere. Okay. So yes, parasites are majorly active during the full moon, and that's one of the reasons that I recommend everybody do parasite cleanses during the full moon. There's a few reasons. They migrate from other parts of the body into your gut to lay eggs. They are preoccupied. They're concentrated there. I think they're the most vulnerable during the full moon. So that's why I just think it's more effective to do it that way. People cleanse all the time and they pass parasites all throughout the month. So it's not the only time to do a parasite cleanse, but I do think it's the most effective time. So I feel like if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it to the most effect, if that makes sense. Magnesium glycinate, is that a good binder? I don't think magnesium is a binder, at least not in my understanding. It kind of relaxes your muscles, and it can help your liver and kidneys and other elimination pathways to relax and open, so that they're not as clogged, that kind of thing. It can help you release stones and that kind of thing. I think magnesium is good, but I don't understand it as a binder. So the binders that I use are typically activated charcoal would be the first one. Just don't take it around any other meds or supplements, because it will bind to those and make them less effective. So just about 2 hours removed from anything else. Activated charcoal is a really popular one. You can get capsules if you start to feel bad during the day after your cleansing. Like last full moon, I started to get a headache. I could feel it coming on, and I took 2 activated charcoals and it was gone within minutes. It was completely gone for the rest of the day. So it can help die off reactions, or if something's building, it can kind of pull it out and get rid of it so you don't feel uncomfortable or in pain or anything during the cleanse. Another one that I like is bentonite clay. It works similarly. So I would take that away from any other supplements or medicines as well. Usually I take those at night or as needed. Like if I'm feeling not good or whatever. Another one I like is chlorella, and that one you can take anytime. So you can take that in the morning or with other things. There was one more. Oh, diatomaceous earth is a good one too. And diatomaceous earth is also an antiparasitic, but it can also serve as a binder. So you can kind of take that whenever too. I take that either first thing in the morning or at night usually. But diatomaceous earth is another good option to add in, especially during a parasite cleanse, because it can help disrupt and scrub away biofilm and also kill parasites. Yeah, but full moon is for sure when they're most active. All right, so I don't want to keep this super long. I'm going to see if there's any more questions. Magnesium's good. I just don't think it's a binder. So you can definitely take it, but also take another binder. What about a DE cleanse? So yeah, I like diatomaceous earth. I just mentioned that. Maybe you asked that before I said it. But I do like it a lot. It does a lot of really good things. It has silica, which can help bind to aluminum and remove aluminum in the body. So parasite cleanses can also help remove heavy metals like aluminum or other heavy metals, lead, mercury, all of those things, cadmium. Because parasites like heavy metals. My understanding is they hoard them because it helps them stay cool inside the body because it's hot in there. So that's kind of a simplified reason that they like it. But as you parasite cleanse, it can also release heavy metals, which is another good reason why you should always take a binder, because they can bind to the heavy metals and flush them out of the body. Otherwise, the heavy metals can reabsorb somewhere else in your body once they're released. So yeah, always have a binder on hand, always. What's the best parasite cleanse? I don't know if there's a best parasite cleanse. There's a lot of different ones, and they all target different types of parasites and help in different ways. So I typically will rotate different ones every time I do it. And personally, I don't do a parasite cleanse every single month, but I usually do it over the full moon, and I probably do it 3 to 4 times a year. So I try to always do the step 1, which is a gut reboot before I do it, to open up pathways and make sure everything's flowing smoothly. It works phenomenally well, so definitely look at step 1 if you want to do a parasite cleanse. It's there's a link in my bio, and I also have done videos on it, so look at my playlists for that, for the steps explained. And yeah, so I like the frozen castor oil cleanse a lot, especially when starting out. It's pretty gentle, it's very effective, it gets hard to reach parasites. I like that one a lot, so definitely look at that. Turpentine is not my favorite because it's gross, like it's nasty. I do it sometimes, but it's bleh, bleh. Yeah, but it is very effective and it does have a lot of benefits. Diatomaceous earth is one of my favorites. A lot of times I'll combine different ones, so I'll do the castor oil and diatomaceous earth and maybe an herbal one or something, and I'll eat pumpkin seeds, so I'll just do a few things at once sometimes because I do it regularly, so I kind of my body can handle a pretty aggressive attack sometimes on the parasites. Let's see. Anything else? I see MTHFR. I did discuss that. I'm not sure if that is from earlier. I'm trying to scroll back to some of the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. Is there anything other than senna that you cleanse the colon? So yeah, there's a lot of things you can use. Senna is a laxative. It's gentle and effective. I like it. It's a good laxative if you need that. I think diatomaceous earth is good. There's quite a few things you can use to cleanse the colon and the biofilm inside of the gut and that kind of thing. So I can look more into specifics if you want, but there's lots of herbs and different things that you can use for that. Let's see, anything else? Any other questions you guys have? I'm trying to keep these less long because they tend to go like an hour if I let them. Let's see, I don't even know how long we've been on now. Can you do a cleanse when fasting? You can. I recommend, so personally, if I was going to do a fast, what I would probably do is fast before I do the cleanse. The reason for that is when you do a fast, it starves your parasites. So after the fast, when you start eating, they go into a frenzy because they're hungry. And so anything you hit them with, they will take it in, and it will be more effective, if that makes sense. They'll come out of hiding because they want to eat, and they're starving because you haven't fed them in however long. And so I think that that's probably the most effective way to do it. There's almost a psychology, right, to parasites, where they love sugar, so you can lure them out with sugar and then hit them with something either in the sugar or with it. So turpentine is done like that a lot, because if you just take turpentine, they're not going to ingest it because it's gross and they don't want it. But if you eat it with sugar, they'll go for the sugar and then they'll die in the process. See how that works? So a lot of times it's this like cat and mouse game where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to lure them out with this thing that they like, and then I'm going to hit them with the stuff that's going to kill them, and I'm going to, decimate them basically. So if I was going to do a fast in conjunction with a parasite cleanse, I would do the fast first. And then I'd probably go into the step 1, which is the gut reboot. And then I would go back to my regular diet, and then I would do the parasite cleanse at that point, because I feel like they would come out and be more vulnerable to whatever you did to attack them, basically. Hopefully that makes sense. How soon after taking something should you use a binder? An hour or 2? Yes. So I would wait a couple hours. Generally, I will do the antiparasitics in the morning, and I'll do the binder right before bed. So that's generally speaking, but I will also take them as needed. So if I feel like something, like maybe I feel a little nauseous or I feel a headache coming on, I will take a binder at whatever point in the day that is. I will just take it immediately, and then it'll help me to feel better and not feel the die-off. Can I give my kids DE? Yes. Put it in water, stir it up, and they can drink it. Absolutely. With diatomaceous earth, I would start slowly if you've never taken it before. Just take a little bit in water and then kind of work your way up. Mimosa pudica seed. I love mimosa pudica seed. I think it's great. Yeah, definitely take it. I don't think it's a binder technically, but it can kind of function as one because it kind of grabs things up in your gut. It's like very sticky stuff, and it kind of just grabs things in your gut. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at what I might recommend for vitiligo in a 4-year-old. If you want to message me, I'll look into that and see what I might recommend. I do have a Google Voice number in my bio, so you can text me, potentially do a phone call if you need to discuss things. Can you do a cleanse while fasting? I did that one. Any recommendation for anti-parasitic probiotic to take after a cleanse? Yes. So I have a step 3, which is the anti-parasitic biotics to take after a cleanse, and they're the best ones I've ever found. So absolutely look at the step 3. That is the whole point, is basically to heal from the root and to prevent further future parasitic infestation. So anytime you do a parasite cleanse, you're killing bad guys and flushing them out. You have to replace them with something. If you don't, they will grow right back. It happens a lot. So a lot of, there was one girl I saw on TikTok who I think I did a duet with her a little while back, but she said, I knew I had parasites. I could feel them. They were ruining my life. They were causing mental health problems, all of this stuff. And I did paracleanse, and I felt great. I felt so much better. But then now it's like 1 to 2 months later, and I feel like crap again. So it didn't work. So first of all, it did work. Obviously it worked, right? But they came back because you didn't address your inner ecosystem, basically. You didn't fix the reason they were there in the first place. So there is a reason that they're able to take hold in our bodies. There's a reason that they're able to hurt us, because our bodies are in the condition that allows them to be there. So we have to change that, and that's what step 3 is for. So I think step 3 is super important for that reason. Sometimes people try to skip step 1 or step 3 and just go straight to step 2 and think that that's going to fix their problem forever. It won't. They will come back. So this is why I have all 3 steps. So definitely, I can't recommend it highly enough. Definitely do all 3 steps. That there's a reason they're there. Okay, and if you want to chat about that or specifics, or if you want me to customize something for you, please feel free to reach out. I have a Google Voice number in my profile, and you can reach out and text me there if you want to chat. Okay. Let's see. How many days over the March 7th full moon do you suggest taking frozen castor oil capsules? So generally, I will suggest doing it 5 to 7 days, and you would center those days on the full moon. So for example, if you're going to do step 1 and then step 2, and you want to do a 7-day parasite cleanse, I would start step 1 on March 1st, which is tomorrow. So you do those 3 days. The step 1 is 3 days long. And then on the 4th day, which would be 7th, 6, 5, 4, the 4th, on the 4th, I would start the actual parasite cleanse. And then you'd go through 8, 9, 10 through the 10th. And that's if you're going to do a 7-day. So I have options because I want people to be able to choose, you know, what's best for them according to your schedule and your health and all of that kind of stuff. So I know it can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming to have to choose all of these different things, but I do think it's important because everybody's different and everybody's in a different situation. So yeah. So I would say maybe 7 days or 5 days for you if you want to do the frozen castor oil. Since frozen castor oil is pretty gentle, I think you could probably do 7 days. It's up to you though. So that would start on the 4th. Honey and turpentine, is that okay to use? Yeah, you can use honey and turpentine. Parasites generally like the nastiest, most awful sugar possible. So some people just get like white sugar cubes and put the turpentine on that because it's more effective for drawing them out. I know it's hard. It's very hard for me to consume that stuff, but yeah. Fulvic acid. I'm not a fan of fulvic acid. I don't take it personally and I don't recommend it. Everybody can make their own choices on that. But the reason that I don't like fulvic acid is because, first of all, it's from dirt and it's often highly contaminated with heavy metals. So the first thing that you need to do if you want to take any kind of fulvic acid is find their COA and make sure there's not heavy metal contamination in there. If they won't or can't give you a COA, don't use it. I wouldn't use it because they're hiding something, or they don't know what they're doing, in which case, either way, just stay away from them. A lot of people like fulvic acid, but I've seen research that it's good. However, I've also seen research that it combines with chlorine and creates formaldehyde. So that to me is a little bit terrifying. I don't think that it's worth that risk because our chlorine exposure is off the charts at this point. Like, we are exposed to chlorine all over the place. Like, if you go in a public restroom, if you walk on grass, if you are in a swimming pool, or literally at a restaurant, I mean, anywhere, right? We're constantly exposed to chlorine. Even if you have the best water filtration at home, there's chlorine everywhere, right? So I don't trust that. I don't think that it's necessary, and I don't think it's worth the risk, honestly. So, I mean, personally, that's why I don't take it. I'm not going to tell anybody else what to do. I know people like it, but personally, I don't like or recommend fulvic acid at this time. And again, my mind can be changed on this stuff. If I see compelling research or evidence that it's safe and it should be used, then I may change my mind on that, just like with zeolites. But at this time, I don't take them and I don't recommend them. Oh yeah, Mimosa pudica. Yeah, it turns into like a very sticky gel, so it kind of grabs things out. So the definition of binder is basically that it bonds to something. So like free radicals basically usually have this free electron, and that's what makes them unstable. So the binders will bond to them and carry them out of the body, which is what makes it a binder. So there are things that can function as binders, but not technically be a binder. So, I mean, I think that Mimosa pudica is great, and we should definitely use that if you want to. Definitely try it. It's good. I'm going to try to get the rest of these questions. Bentonite clay, I love bentonite clay. Mrs. Rogers Hood actually contacted me, and I think she's sending me one of her cleanses, so I'm going to try it. So I'll let you know what I think about that. I should be getting it any day in the mail. Yeah, tap water has a lot of chlorine in it. So if possible, get a really good filter so at least you're not exposed at home, but we are exposed kind of everywhere, so it's pretty unavoidable. Is that normal, and how long does it last? I'm not sure what you're asking about. Sorry. If you could like specify exactly what you're asking about, maybe I can answer. Morgellons or some type of parasite in me, and my home that eats. Wait, what? Any suggestions? So for Morgellons, my best suggestion is look at the borax solution. I've made several videos about that. I made one recently, so you'll see it a few videos back in my profile, and I also did it in the step 2 antiparasitics. In my understanding, borax is the most effective thing to target Morgellons because it disrupts their ability to assemble and multiply in our bodies, as far as I understand it. If you don't know what Morgellons are, definitely look those up. They're basically synthetic parasites that we're being exposed to through air and water and lots of other things, chemtrails and that kind of thing, and our food. It's kind of a conspiracy theory, but I think it's true. Okay, DE from soil. No, it's not. Diatomaceous earth is fossilized diatoms. So they're mined, I'm pretty sure they're mined all in one spot. They don't come out of soil though. There may be some mixed in with soil in lots of places, but it's not soil itself. Bentonite clay? Are you asking about bentonite clay? Someone said diatomaceous clay. So I think you might be conflating diatomaceous earth and clay. It's two different things, but diatomaceous earth and bentonite clay are both good. They're both binders. They can both definitely be used. How do you use bentonite clay for a parasite cleanse? I like to use it as a binder. So activated charcoal is a good binder. Bentonite clay is a good binder. It can bind to heavy metals and toxins and flush them out of our bodies. So it can prevent Herxheimer reactions and just getting sick and die-off reactions and stuff. But I do like it. I like bentonite clay. I like the Redmond brand. That's what I usually get. Great. Let me know how the Mrs. Rogers Hood cleanse goes. I think she's doing great work over there, and I really like her. I'll let you know what I think of it too. I'm gonna hopefully try it soon. Hives. Okay, so hives can happen. I don't know how common it is, but it's definitely like a reaction where, your skin reacts to something, and it can be a die-off reaction, kind of a systemic one. So I would definitely recommend binders in that case. If you know that you're prone to hives and you want to prevent it, definitely look at step 1, okay? Because when your detox elimination pathways are not open, then things start to manifest in the skin. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have those things as open as possible. Look at step 1, do that first, and definitely have binders. Probably just take them preemptively, whether or not you're feeling bad. I usually take them before bed at night. What are the symptoms of parasites? Okay, so pretty much any bad thing that's happening with your health is probably parasites, in my understanding. Some of the very common signs of parasites are rashes or skin issues. Grinding your teeth is kind of a surprising one. That's a big sign of parasites. So any kind of skin issue, it can be acne or rashes or just unexplained skin eruptions or issues are probably parasites. Bad dreams or trouble sleeping can often be parasites. Night terrors, panic attacks, mental health issues, a lot of things can be parasites. Digestive issues obviously is a huge sign of parasites. Gurgling in the stomach, especially after eating, is a big sign of parasites. So there's lots. I did a video on that recently as well. So hopefully that's helpful. You can look it up too, because I really honestly think that everything is at the root. It's parasitic, like all the problems that we have, illnesses and diseases and that kind of thing. So by that definition, almost anything could be a sign of parasites, right? But those are some of the big ones. Let's see. Is it normal to continue shedding parasites a month after finishing a cleanse? Yeah, it is. Usually it'll go for at least a few days after you finish a parasite cleanse if you're effective. Zeolite is good. I am not a huge fan of zeolites, but I'm glad that you like it. It's fine. You can totally take that if you want to. Tips for non-frozen castor oil. So for non-frozen castor oil, don't take as much. It's a laxative. It's a pretty powerful laxative. It's fairly gentle. It's not like traumatic or anything, but it's but I take less if I'm doing it room temperature. So I would take like 1 capsule of the room temperature, or like maybe up to a teaspoon of it at a time, and then be near a bathroom for the next hour. But it's very good. Sometimes I do the frozen and the room temperature at the same time, so I get both benefits of both ways. Oh yeah, Redmond clay can pull brown recluse spider venom out of you. Yeah, clay compresses, clay packs can definitely help with like bug bites, spider bites. They just pull it right out. So it's very good to have on hand for sure, both topically and internally. Step 1, so if you look at my profile, there is a link to step 1, step 2, and step 3. Step 1 is called a gut reboot, and it's basically to open detox pathways, support the liver and kidneys, and seal leaks in the gut before you do a cleanse, which is very important. Rosacea, yes. Rosacea is a sign of parasites, yes. Any skin issues, really. Okay, good to talk to you guys today. I will try to go live tomorrow, or maybe every day. We'll see if I if I can, but I hope you guys have a great day today, and continue to message me or ask questions if you have questions or want to discuss something. I have a group on Facebook which is called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal, so feel free to come join that if you want more support, or you want to discuss something, or just to learn more. You're all welcome to come and join that. There is a link to that in my profile. I have links to step 1, 2, and 3 in my profile if you want to get supplies to do a parasite cleanse and just do the whole thing, thoroughly so that you get the best results possible. I do walk people through that in the group if you want to come over to the group. And in my profile, there's a playlist. There's several playlists which help explain some of these things I've been talking about. If you missed part of it or you have questions, I've probably addressed it in a TikTok because I get these questions a lot. So I try to do TikToks to answer the questions and explain things better. So yeah, go check out my playlists there and invite your friends. Talk to you guys later. Have a great day.